Hello everyone. I believe today's video will be very important for all RF engineers, as it will be going to present some information regarding the 4G and 5G UE capability messages. In this video, we'll give a high-level introduction to about the UE capability messages and what kind of information can be collected from these messages. And it's important to highlight that the UE capability message is essential in network troubleshooting, feature testing, and also new device testing or benchmarking. That's why it's necessary to get familiar with the UE capability message information and to learn how to read some information inside this messages such as 4G carrier aggregation combination and ENDC capability messages. Let's go forward. Okay, what we are going to cover here. First part, we'll be covering what is the UE capability message means, what it contains, what is the definition, and so on. Secondly, the 3GP explanation for different band combination, which one of the most important parts, which I really faced some problems before in decoding and reading some of the information. It was kind of complicated. We will try to simplify how to read the 4G carrier aggregation combination and also 5G NSA or ENDC band combination as well. And lastly, we'll go through some limitation of the capability messages and 3G proposed solutions which should be followed by all the RF engineers. Okay, now let's discuss about more about what is the capability messages. First, what is the definition of the capability? It's an RRC signaling mechanism in which the U provides its capability to the network. So why it's needed by the network? Why it's needed? It's needed by the network to be able to take, as mentioned here, accurate scheduling decisions after receiving the capability information messages. Let me give you an example. Let's assume that you have one EE who's supporting three carrier combination, let's say ENDC, for example, N77 plus 1800 plus L2100. So in case if the UE didn't report this information to the network, then the UE will not be able to take NDC or not able to take 5G, which is N77 or N78 plus the other two carriers. Accordingly, it will impact its speed. So that's why it's very important that all the information to be reported to the network in order to make the network take accurate information, scheduling decisions. Lastly, okay, what kind of information will be covered or usually covered in this part? During the attach, uh, some information is being reported in the attach message and other in the EU capability information. And usually the network or the NLB requests the UE capability information message from the UE through sending UE capability inquiry. So the first part in the network capability, including in the attach request, if you open an attach request, I will show some of these messages, some of the most important messages or parameters which need uh, to be known by the optimization or by anyone. Secondly, it's about the radio capability. It's also some information about the capability information, such as, for example, the carrier aggregation combination. This kind of UE supporting which carrier aggregation combination, what kind of ENDC combination, and so on. So now let's have like a high level overview about the signaling. This is not for sure the complete signaling, but just giving you information, like what kind of information. For example, initially and during the attach request from the EU to the MME, this will be covering some information about the network itself. The EU is informing the MME about some information, for example, this service C, whether it's supporting service C or not, or E-UTRA and E-UTRA, for example, whether it's supporting ENDC or not, 5G, for example, whether it's supporting VoLTE or not. We'll be showing some of this information now. Secondly, the eNodeB or 4G or 5G will request the UE to report its radio capability information. So the UE will be reporting UE radio capability information. Then the same information will be transferred to the core network. So now let's have like high level what kind of information is being included in this attach request. For example, attach request including whether they use supporting service C or not, VoLTE, and one mode which is more referred to 5G standalone. Last one is about DCNR capability, whether it's supporting 5G in the NDC or not. There is more information than inside the attach request, but I just take some of the most important information. So this is a network capability which is being reported in the attach request. Second, it's as mentioned here in point 2, the 4G will request uh, sometimes the 5G dependent you are working standalone or non-standalone and so on. The capability message, the capability information from the UE. This UE cableting query can contains information requesting about information about the 4G or 5G or either 3G or MRDC capability or something related to the NR itself. Okay, this usability information messages, I just highlighted some of the high level parameters. Under each of those categories, it's covering a lot of and many parameters. For example, what is the type of the OE category, BDC, PRLC, MAC physical parameters, RF parameters, which this one covering the band combination, which we'll go through the details how to read it in the next slides. Then it's through the FGI feature group indicators. This actually, for sure, if you know about it, this is covering around 32 features, and the EU is informing whether it's supporting these features or not. Each bit, it's like 32 bits. Each bit is equivalent to one feature. If this bit is 0 or 1, this indicating that this feature 0 means the EU is not supporting this feature. If it's 1, this means the EU is supporting feature. This one I will be covering in a different post or different video later on, and after later it will be supporting about the FR1 capability. So this is some of the high level information. Okay, next, like now, I will go through the one of the most essential parts, which is how to read the carrier aggregation combination, either for 4G or for ENDC, and the same can be applied for 5G standalone in the futures. So now let's first go through some of the 3GPP guide. This maybe looks complicated. We'll try to simplify it, and you will further understand it once you go through the practical examples. So for example, the table on the left, this is from the 3GPP tables. This one for the 4G different band combination, and the one on the right for 5G. So here you can find we have around 4 columns. The first column is saying what is the CE bandwidth class. We have different classes. Each class is equivalent to a maximum number of carriers, either contiguous or non-contiguous, but here it's a lot of the contiguous carriers. Second one, what is the maximum aggregated bandwidth? For example, let's here talk about A. If you found that under the capability information message that for example, band 1800 is showing class A, this means it's only one carrier component, and the maximum bandwidth for this carrier can be 20 megahertz, 100 RP. Second example, for example, if it's showing B, this means that you can have maximum two contiguous carrier component with maximum bandwidth of 100 RP, which means the maximum of the two carriers together can be maximum can be 20 megahertz, which means one carrier 10 megahertz and the other 10 megahertz. Then C, it is the same as the previous one. However, this one, it's increased the bandwidth up to 200 and so on. So this is the same. For example, D supporting up to three contiguous carriers to 300, E supporting up to 4 carriers with a maximum bandwidth of 400 RBs, which is 80 megahertz. F supporting 5 carrier component, which is up to 100 megahertz and so on. And the others, I think this is for the massive MIMO. Not massive MIMO. The others, yes, for the massive CA, massive carrier aggregations, which I didn't test it before. And the table on the right, this is for the 4G NR. It's the same classification, uh, same explanation. For example, A is still one carrier, also only one contiguous carrier. And here is saying that instead of giving you the exact bandwidth, it's just giving you that this one equal bandwidth like less than or equal the maximum channel maximum bandwidth of the channel maximum. Yeah, for example, if you have N78A, N78 maximum bandwidth can be 100 megahertz. This means this carrier can be up to 100 megahertz. Here, this one is giving you a values 100 megahertz, less than 20 megahertz, up to 20 megahertz, up to 100 megahertz. Example, if you have this one, so that the two carriers shouldn't cross 100 megahertz, and so on. This is the same explanation. Here I have just giving some sources for the 3GPP reference, and if you want to go through more details, you can go through this one. Here, like the number of pages and so on. Okay, next part now, how to read the carrier aggregation combination if you received it, if you open any UE capability message. For example, the first part, I'm giving just example from first before going to how to read it. I will just giving some table combination because if you open the 3GPP sources, which I highlighted in the previous slide, you'll find that you have many tables for all the uh, band combinations can be supported. It's hundreds of band combination. I just take example for each category just to try to simplify it further. 3B. B, as mentioned in the above slides, meaning that it can support up to 2 carriers. Each one of those, like can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just giving here as 5 carriers as example. So we can support up to 2 carriers with maximum bandwidth, if you remember, if you can recall it, with maximum bandwidth of 20 megahertz. So this one, for example from the 3GPP is so showing 3V. 3V means that band 1800, the first carrier can be either 3 or 5 megahertz, and the second carrier can be 5 megahertz. So maximum of this class is 20 megahertz. You have more combination. I'm just giving example for each one of those. Second one is about 1C. As mentioned, C is also supporting 2 contiguous carriers with maximum bandwidth of 40 megahertz, and it can be like different combination: 15 plus 15, 20 plus 20, 20 plus 5, 20 plus 10, 20 plus, and so on. And this one is showing D. D can support up to 3 carrier aggregation with maximum bandwidth 60 megahertz. For example, he's showing CA40. This means band 40, which can be 3 carriers contiguous. First one can be 10, second can be 20, and so on, and maximum is 60. Same for E and F. E supporting 4 carriers, F supporting 5 carriers. The exact same example is being presented to 5G. For example, also for the N78C, this can supporting up to carrier aggregation with maximum combination of 200 megahertz. If you can go back to the previous slide, you'll see this one. It was here, C with maximum combination of channel bandwidth 2 multiply the channel bandwidth maximum. So if you are talking about N78, so this means 200 megahertz as mentioned here. So it can be, for example, 2 carriers, 100 and 100, or whatever of the other combination. This is about the sample of the information being presented in 3GPP. You have 100 of C combinations, which you need maybe to just go through it, just take some samples. No need to memorize all the details about it, just try to understand it. Next one, now I'm going to, I will show here a high level, then I will go through some of the logs to show more examples of how you can read it. For example, the one on the left, how to read 4G and 5G NDC combination. The one on the left is for 4G carrier aggregation. If you have a capability message, what you need to do, you just need to search for the RF parameters. On the RF parameters, you will find band combination parameters. Then under this one, you will start showing that something called band parameters and so on. Each band parameters is showing a combination. First one here, it's showing you as example, band E-UTRA but 1. This means band 1. Under this one, you will have the class, which we just highlighted in the previous tables. This showing that band 1 having class A. Class A means 1 carrier. Maximum was 20 megahertz. So this one will be B1A. Second carrier is same, again B1A, but this means these 2 carriers will be non-contiguous, because 1A, this is for it's just maximum contiguous is 1, if you remember. So this means you will have 2 band 1 non-contiguous carriers. Then number 3, the 3CC is band 3, which is showing class C here. If you check, I will check the downlink. Class C. C means 2 contiguous carriers maximum 40 megahertz. This means that C band combination, it will be all of this. It will be band 1A plus band 1A plus band 3C. So band 1A is 1 carrier, band 1A is 1 carrier non-contiguous, then band 3, which is 1800, it will be 2 non-contiguous carriers, so the total you will have 4 carrier component or 4 carrier aggregation. So again here, 1A, if you remember, if you can recall it, 1A means a single up carrier component up to 100 RBs, which non-contiguous. 3C means like LTE band 3, which is band 1800, means that you have 2 carrier component up to 200 BRBs. The same here for the MRDC capability. You can search for this name in MRDC capability, and under this one you will find the same figure. For example, here I'm highlighted the LTE and NR part. For example, if you go through here, you will find NR band parameters. Under this one, you'll find E-UTRA, which means 4G band. So the primary carrier will be this one, which is band 1, which is 2100, and it's giving here the class A, means non-contiguous. Again, with non-contiguous, same definition, maximum 20 megahertz. Again, another carrier is 1800, also band A. This also will be second carrier, so this means band 1 plus band 18 plus band 3 plus band 41, which is C. C means 2 carriers. So you'll have again band 1A plus 3A plus 41C, which means 4cc in the LTE side. In the 5G side, you will find NR band parameters. Under this one, you'll find NR, and here it's showing N77 and showing the C band class for downlink is A. This means one carrier with maximum bandwidth with 100 megahertz. So at the end, this means you will have four carriers at the 4G side and one carrier on the NR side. And here is the explanation for each of those, which is already being presented in the previous table. So I will be covering the more examples. Okay, now let's go through more examples about the 5G capability, and also we can take some examples of 4G capability, how to read the ENDC combination, and also 4G carrier aggregation combination. So this is one of the UE capability messages which I have. As you can see here, this is having a lot of information about physical parameters, UE capability. It's actually too much information. If you scroll down, you'll find about it. It looks complicated, but the most uh, important part which you need to go through it is the carrier aggregation combination, because all the other is kind of straightforward information, telling, for example, what kind of profile being supported, what kind of what is the current UE capability, and so on. So let's first go and check for this message. This like for the you need to check what is the MRDC capability, and to start reading it and start like finding out whether what kind of carrier aggregation combination is being supported. So jumping into this one, MRDC combination, you need to go and support and check for this message which being presented in the previous slide, which is supported band combination list. Then you will find the NR band combination. The first example is exactly same as what I have described in the slide. For example, let's go through it again. Supported band combination list, band list, what kind of band lists are being supported. The first part of first carrier would be the 4G UTRAN. The first one is band 1. Band 1A means one carrier for band 1 non-contiguous, maximum 20 megahertz. Then band 3 again, this will be the second carrier, and this means band 1 plus band 3, both are A, max means both maximum 20 megahertz. Third carrier is 41C, means band 1 plus band 3 plus band 41, but this can be up to two carrier contiguous with maximum bandwidth 40 megahertz, each 20 megahertz. Then here the band which is being supported for the 5G, which is N77. This means A. This means you will have at the end band 1 plus band 3 plus band 41. Band 41 is two carriers, and band 77, which will at the end you will have 4cc plus 1 N77. Again, you need to go and check the new band combination and our band combination for the next message. This is again some parameters related to the previous one. Until you split between those both with an R band combination, this means you are entering a new band combination. So here again, it's exactly, I think, the same. You can see band 1A, band 3A, plus N41C, and again N77A. But in this time, it's giving some information about the uplink and downlink. So now let's go through one more example to see the differences. This is again parameters split by NR band combination. Again, band 1A, 2100 plus 1800A plus 41C, same combination, but this time it's N78 instead of N77. So this again, it means you have 4CC plus N78. Let's take one more example. NR band combination here, here, and so on, so on, so on. Okay, go down. Here, for example, this one in our band combination, again, band 1A, band 3A, and band 41C, and yeah, A, C, and N78A again. So let's take one by one, move down one by one. And our band combination. I'm just trying to find another combination because it's repeating again and again. So okay, good. Here in our band combination, you can see here band 2100 plus A. This time there is no 1800, it's just band 41. This means you have one carrier for band 1 plus two carriers 41. This means you have 3cc at the 4G side, and this is for N78. One more last example to make it more clear. In our band combination, here again, okay, this time it's kind of different because you can see again band 1 A, then as a primary, then band 3 2C, which means 2, carrier just means 3CC. This time plus, as you can see, 20, which is L800 with A. This means you have 4CC, 2100 plus 2 carriers 1800 plus 1 carrier 800. And at the last, this was N78, and I believe this covered many examples now. Um, this would be exactly the same for the 4G. However, the 4G would be showing the 4G part only. Here it's showing 4G plus N78. So I hope it's more clear for you now. Thank you. Let's go for the next slide. Okay, now the last part, which is actually one of the most important part, which we have been seeing in many networks before. What is the background of this one? It's actually this one. First, we are going to, there is some limitation for the signaling, the UE capability messages. What it means by this? And do we have any solution for this? Okay, let's first go through the background. In the early phase of the carrier aggregation, long time back, there was only two carrier aggregation was supported at that time, and the supported band combination was very simple. So the information which being covered within the UE capability message was very small. Accordingly, will be to be handled by the UE and can be able to report it. But now with the increase in the number of the upgrade and the devices and increase of the components, 3CC, 4CC, and 5CC, and a lot of carrier combination, FDD, TD, and so on. Now the band combination are introduced after introducing this band, the size of the UE capability message explodes. The size become very, very big. And actually, there is a limitation of this message. If you go through the 3GPP, I give the sources in the video description for all this. The maximum size of the can be 8188 octet, as you can mention here. So this means if the UE capability message cross this value, this means the network some information will be missed to be reported to the network, which will be very critical in some scenarios, and they accordingly the E node B or the G node B cannot take accurate scheduling information. So what is the 3GPP solution? 3GPP solution that it giving some solution that the network can request the UE to send additional UE capability information. If the network seen that the UE capability has already reached the maximum limit, then it will be requesting again and again to ask the UE to report more information until it receives all the information. Or the network can ask the UE to report a specific carrier aggregation combination based on your network strategy. And this, I believe, it's you can find it in different companies or different vendors. The solution about this part, if you need to go and review the current settings, because this one it should be really handled by in your network to make sure that the user is really reporting all, especially the carrier aggregation combination and all other information. Here is an example for the complete messages. For example, in here you can see that the UE capability query has been asked 4 times from the network. This means that the UE was already reaching to this maximum limit. And this, if the node B didn't request more information, this means some information will be missed, and accordingly it will impact the user experience. First one here, UE capability inquiry, the UE reply. Second, UE capability inquiry, again the UE reply. Third one, and so on. And the last one was for the 5G ENDC. Now we reached into the end of this video. I hope the information was useful for you. And please, if you have any comment, drop it in the messages. And if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much. Thank you.